That carbon splitter doesn't care what tax bracket your Land Rover came from. America just built something engineered to dominate this segment, and the European establishment isn't going to like it. There is an engineering decision buried in this build I haven't seen on any American SUV in production. By the time we get to the verdict, you'll understand why it changes the conversation about what a domestic luxury hauler can actually do. Is this worth the price? My answer is going to be more nuanced than this exterior suggests. We're covering the exterior architecture, the interior, and the performance story. But I also need to tell you where this project came from, because word I'm hearing is this didn't start in a boardroom. It started in a conversation between two teams who weren't supposed to be talking. Here's what stands out first, and it's not the body kit, it's the philosophy. Word I'm hearing is that GM's advanced design group embedded with a Tier 1 carbon fabrication supplier, one that normally builds aero components for GT3 racing programs. The result is structural carbon integration, not cosmetic. Those front canards and that splitter aren't bolted to painted plastic. They're bonded to a carbon-reinforced subframe brace that reportedly stiffens the front end by approximately 18% over the standard Denali platform. Why it matters? In a 6,000-pound SUV, front-end chassis rigidity directly affects steering precision and body roll. You feel that difference at highway speed. You especially feel it towing 8,000 pounds when the front end starts to wander at 75 miles per hour. I'm calling this adaptive carbon load path geometry, variable density layering, stiffer where torsional loads concentrate, more compliant near the firewall for NVH. Same principle used in aircraft fuselage engineering. That's not styling, that's structural problem solving. But the engineering story doesn't stop at the bodywork. What they've done inside is where this build earns its premium or doesn't. Step inside, and the first thing you register isn't any single feature, it's the commitment. Every contact surface, door pull, seat bolster, armrest, wrapped in deep crimson semi-aniline leather with actual grain variation. Paired against the blackout headliner and carbon look trim, this reads more European GT than American truck. I mean that as a genuine compliment. The centerpiece is a portrait orientation touchscreen that appears to be around 16 inches diagonal, bigger than anything Lincoln or Cadillac runs in standard trim. Here's the thing most people miss about large screens in trucks. Size only matters if the software earns it. We'll go deep on the UI, the digital cluster, and that cabin experience in a dedicated interior episode. But from what I can see here, the intent is right. Where I think they missed the mark, and longtime Yukon owners will agree with me, is tactile feedback on the climate controls. For anyone who's driven a GM truck for 20 years, reaching for that temperature dial without looking is second nature. Making that interaction less intuitive for the sake of visual coherence is a real trade-off. Not fatal, but not free. The interior sets a high expectation. Now let's see if the exterior has the structural credibility to match it. Here's a piece of what I mentioned at the open. The Carbon program reportedly traces to a GM advanced design group that embedded with a motorsport fabricator for 14 months. The goal wasn't styling, it was proving that a production intent full-size SUV could carry functional aero integration at highway speed without sacrificing the utility the platform is known for. The exterior you're about to see is the direct output of that program. Start at the front. That splitter extends the fascia approximately 4 inches beyond the standard bumper line, with carbon canards angled to direct airflow around the front wheel arches. At 75 miles per hour, measurable. At 55, marginal. But there's engineering intent behind every piece here. This isn't a body kit catalog. The wide-body fender flares are what make this structurally significant. A standard Denali rides on roughly 67 inches of front track width. These flares suggest something in the 72 to 74-inch range based on wheel offset and proportion. A wider track fundamentally improves lateral stability and reduces body roll. For anyone who's pulled a loaded trailer on a 2-lane and felt that pendulum sway through a curve, that's a real engineering benefit, not cosmetic. Rear, carbon diffuser, quad exhaust exits with meaningful tip diameter, carbon spoiler integrated into the tailgate, and a load-bearing carbon roof rack. That's a structural platform, not a styling rail. Ground clearance looks to be around 7.5 inches in standard mode versus the stock 9.0-inch spec, the trade-off for the performance stance. Now here's what's under the hood and what I think they may have done with it. Platform baseline, the 6.2-liter L87 V8, 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque in standard Denali trim. For the carbon, the strong speculation and those exhaust dimensions support it is a supercharged variant in the 550 to 580 horsepower range, still within what the 10-speed automatic can handle with the right torque converter calibration. Full powertrain deep dive is coming in a dedicated episode. All of that brings us to what actually matters for real buyers making real decisions, pricing, and who this genuinely makes sense for. Now, here's what I actually think, and I'm going to be completely straightforward with you. The collaboration I've been hinting at wasn't officially announced because the result is too motorsport aggressive for GMC's standard Denali marketing playbook. They built something more capable than they know how to position. And honestly, that disconnect is the most interesting thing about this vehicle. Pricing. Based on comparable limited edition Denali builds at this specification level, expect a window sticker between $115,000 and $135,000. Context. A loaded Navigator black label runs around $105,000. The Escalade-V, the most direct performance luxury competitor, is approximately $150,000. The carbon slots between those two, which is defensible if the powertrain claims hold under independent testing. On depreciation, special edition mechanically differentiated builds hold value better than cosmetically differentiated ones in the first 3 years. The key question is whether GM backs the powertrain with warranty coverage that matches. Confirm that in writing before you sign. Here's the call. If you're trading in your current Yukon Denali and you regularly tow at highway speed, this is the strongest domestic option in the segment right now. The wider track and stiffer chassis address real operational shortcomings of the standard platform. If you're primarily urban, if interior refinement and long-term ownership cost matter more than presence, I'd point you toward the Escalade-V or a Navigator black label. And that engineering decision from the open, the structural carbon integration, that's why this isn't just a dressed-up Denali. It's a different vehicle in terms of what it can do at speed. At the open, I said that carbon splitter doesn't care what tax bracket your Land Rover came from. Having gone through the engineering and the backstory, I stand by that. This was built with a specific, uncompromising intention. Whether you agree with it or not, the commitment is real. I'd love to hear your take, especially if you've owned a Yukon Denali or spent real time in an Escalade-V. Drop it below. Interior Deep Dive is next. Subscribe if this kind of no-nonsense analysis is what you're here for. See you in the next one.